Hello, welcome. Another video where I make some more videos because you know next Saturday 29th of August, important day in Germany, a big demonstration in Berlin. Well, there was an invitation for all people in Europe, and well, it will be a great day, and well, I make some more videos, well, tell you about miracles I had in my life and give you maybe some messages. Today I'm talking about my time as a civil worker. I was a refuser, so-called refuser in Germany, who refused to serve in the army with a weapon. You had a choice in my time. I finished school in 1988 in Hamburg, and when I was 80 I became the letter, you are now 18, you are in the age of to serve your country, and then you have to go to this, I don't know in English, Kreiswehrersatzamt it was called. It was in every town, in everywhere in Germany there was a bureau, and all the young men had to go there, and how fit they are, what can they do, and for my surprise I get T2, that is the second best you can get. T1 is when you are kind of a superman, and I was hoping, well, maybe, I have a scoliosis, my backbone is not straight in a line, so I thought, well, maybe I got a little bit uh, less, and maybe, but I was quite healthy, so, well, there was no escape from this service, and, but I refused, and I had to write why I don't want to serve with a weapon in hand. So, and I wrote, well, I can't kill. I wrote I could kill, but it would destroy me, to take somebody else's life. I couldn't do this. Well, I could do this, but it would be harmful for me, destroying my soul. So, well, they believed me, and they let me in, and then there was a round of men. um, I don't know what rank they had, or what they what is the task they have, so they just want to see you and give you that they show you, we read what you, we read it, what you was writing, your explanation why you don't want to serve, but it was somehow, the atmosphere was somehow strange. It was like in a Monty Python film, like a little bit, the life of O'Brien. So this, the scene when the Caesar comes, and then they make jokes, and ah, Dicus Longus, so like this. It was a strange atmosphere, and I didn't know why, and they were very familiar to me. Yeah, of course, they knew who my father was, and then they knew him maybe. In Hamburg there's a big community of Freemasons, and they control Hamburg. You can say it is all ruled by them, and of course they are also in these positions, and they knew quite well who my father was and who I am, and so they were some kind of giggling, or it was a strange atmosphere, but everybody knew it in these positions, but they never told me, so I didn't know what is so funny here. It was like in a comedy, I don't know, it was strange. Okay, but they accepted my explanation, and then, okay, you make civil work, and wish you the best, goodbye, and so on. Then there was a flag, the German flag, and well, you know, a room where the flag is, and yeah, I'm glad that I was not in the army, because I feared, the main reason I refused, I feared that I couldn't stand the drill. You know, you have to stand, and then they shout at you, and they break you, and I thought, well, I don't want to be threatened or treated like that. So, you know, it is always that they bring you down, like in a boot, not like in a boot camp, but it's everywhere the same in the world. They make you small, and you feel small, and they oppress you. The 3 months, the first 3 months, the basic education is 3 months. This is the hardest time, and then I heard, well, then it is okay, but no, well, they made it attractive. If you went to military, only 12 months. If you refused, 18 months. So I had to serve 18 months, civil work, and well, I decided to leave the house of my parents to go in another town. I went to the south, to Stuttgart, because this is the country of my beloved grandparents, and so I was looking for, you know, a place where I can serve, and I found a small hospital in the town of Stuttgart, and I started the 1st August of 1988. And so when I went there in this small hospital, and it was great. So, you know, there's wine, the hills around the town, there's wine, and there are mineral term, like of the old Roman time. They still have this old term, and you take a bath in a mineral water, and all this hills, wine. It's well, it's they live like Roman Caesar here in Stuttgart. I was impressed. It was also the weather was fine, more sun like in Hamburg. You know, in Hamburg it's heavy raining in autumn and winter, and well, I was happy, and well, I started in a small hospital. Here you see me in the age of 20. I'm looking quite thin. I'm not so thin anymore. You know, I was so thin, and here I'm in white. I'm in my working dress in a hospital. I worked in a hospital looking for the patients. You know, I had 2 shifts, one from 6 to 2 and the other from 2 till 10. So there was an early shift, and then there was a late shift. But I never had to do a night shift. That was only for the professional, for the nurses. Well, I had these 2 shifts, and then here you see, looking out the window, it was my roommate. Well, he looks a little bit like Michael Ballweg from Stuttgart, isn't it? A little bit. Somehow amazing. He looks nearly similar, like this guy who is leading now this Querdenken demonstrations in Stuttgart, and also national-wide. Well, I've forgotten his name. Well, maybe he is it. I don't know. It could be. Well, he was already finished when I came. Well, I had a little bit, yeah, I had a little bit trouble. Well, yeah, you know, it was a little bit complicated in this small rooms, and then, yeah, but okay, it was a little bit of me that I was not so tolerant maybe, and well, okay, but we had the same room. He had the first room, and I the second room, and I had to pass through his room, and it was the end of his service. He was there for 18 months before I came, and maybe 2 weeks we were together in this double room, and then he went to a studied to a town. He wanted to be a doctor. He wanted to study medicine, and then he said goodbye. And then I had this 2 rooms for my own. And here's a colleague. He was also in this house in the neighbor room, where I hope that now he changed. It is 30 years ago. I think nobody could recognize him now if I show this picture. And here is Schlossplatz in the winter, you know, the central place in Stuttgart. Here another picture. It's in the winter and the Christmas time in Stuttgart. Well, it turned out that I couldn't stay in this hospital because I had a problem with my hands. You know, this you have to disinfect, and it was not good for my skin, and I had to change to another place. But let me tell you a little bit about this hospital. It was a small hospital. It was ruled by a Christian orden, Methodist orden. So there was a Church of Methodists who was the owner of this hospital. And yeah, I came in the first time. Every morning there was a breakfast in the early shift at 8. So we worked from 6 to 8, and then went down into the basement, and there was a room with a cross and cross, and then there was the nurse. She ruled this hospital. She was a Methodist, Bible-believing Christian. And then the first day I was talking with my neighbors on the table, blah 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 blah, and then suddenly, bing-ling, there was a bell, and then, well, today we read from the Bible, Jeremiah chapter, and then everybody was quiet, and then she read it, and then wish you the best for the day, and amen, and well, they were really believers. And well, I was not to that time. I forgot the Bible somehow. I read it in my youth, and then later I was not, I lost somehow this very good book, and I was not interested. The life in this hospital was not like it should be. It was not according to the Bible. There were, for example, there was a nurse. She had problems with alcohol, and there was another civil worker, and he said to me, well, there are so awful people working. She has so many problems with alcohol. Normally she couldn't work there. And well, I was thinking, well, but he was a Christian, and he went every Sunday to Mr. Chefbuch. It's also a famous Methodist prayer in Stuttgart, Chefbuch. Well, the people in Stuttgart know this name. He's well known in the southwest. And every Sunday going into his church and listen to his prayer, but he was not really acting like a Christian. Well, I was thinking, well, this woman needs help. Yeah, you can't just drop her out without giving any help and say, well, you have to go. And so where should she go? She would never find a new job with her problems, and why was nobody helping her? So that was kind of strange for me, reading every morning the Bible, and we are all believing Christians, but in real life it turned out it was not according to the Bible, what they did and how they singing and how they acting, and there was also a lot of frustration. This old nurses, they worked their whole life for this orden, for this Methodist orden, and they got almost nothing. They had only a room, in this this accommodation for nurses. There are special houses in the hospital for nurses, and they lived the whole life in a small room, earning low money, and all the doctors coming with a fast car and living like like a Caesar. Well, here I am, and they earned a lot of money, and this nurses, they got almost nothing. And well, I found this very injustice. I never accepted this injustice because they did the hard work, and the doctors, they went in taking the knives, the scalpels, and making a little bit, but the all the cure, and they had to stay in the hospital. All this pain of the patients, the nurses had to care for it. Also, we, the civil workers, and the doctors, they made a visit. So maybe 1 hour they went through a little bit, blah 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 blah, and then, well, have a nice day. So that's it, and they got so much money, that so well in this time, to be a doctor, it was a quite good paid job. Not now anymore, not so much anymore, because there was a reformation in the health system here in Germany, and now the doctors are not so good paid anymore. But in the end of the 80s, well, they were somehow the best paid people, beside not like managers, but they were quite rich, yeah. Well, and this was somehow strange. There was also a lot of frustration among these old nurses, and well, they called me brother, they called them brother, sister, and well, but I found out that sometimes they got angry, and there was one special nurse. She was really chasing me with now you have this done wrong and this done wrong, and and I today I know, well, there was always somebody in a job who was chasing me with words or with hate, and they had always somebody to make my life harder. They were observing me all my life, and well, of course, find always somebody who do this job, and well, this is the reason why why I'm so poor, because there is no job without this, and and after so many years, I'm tired to spend my time with these idiots that have no idea who God is, who He lives, and they're looking for the money. Well, I can earn a lot of money with this guy when I give him fire, when I tease him, and they're looking for the money, but well, they have to die one day, and then their money will be worthless, but they can't see this. I don't think that they can see it. Well, the devil was behind me all the time. There was also a chief doctor. He hated me, and I went down the floor. I had to roll a bed to another building. There was a floor, and then there was a room where this surgery took place, and I saw him standing, and he was full of blood. He looked like a butcher, and he saw me standing there, and he looked really like, I will kill you. And I said, well, see you. I go. Hello. So I went on, and there was so much hate, and I didn't know what was the reason. It was all about this. It was all about this plan the Freemasons made to build my father, my real father. I mean, this father who was chancellor here in Germany, to build a trap, to create an illegal child, and then to blackmail him, and then when there's no need anymore, so we make him a hard time, and we we ruin him and maybe he will kill himself one day, but I never did. I never did. So that was their plan, and well, that was you can say when I left the house of my parents, the hound began. So well, but well, I don't care. I think this will end someday. This whole system here of the Antichrist will end, and all these tricks he plays. I don't think that the Antichrist will escape. There's no escape. There will be judgment. The question is how peaceful can we stay and make the change without bloodshed. That would be great. Well, I see here some other pictures. I changed then to a house, people who had problems with alcohol. You know, there was a house here. I show you here, it's on the top. And it was a former hotel, and there were 24 people living who had a problem with alcohol after they were in a cure, and then to start a normal life, to find a job, to find a apartment. So the most people lived there for 12 months, for 1 year, and well, I started there, and well, some people they liked me a lot, but there were also people who didn't like me. They said, well, this is a clown. He's not a real man, you know, the tough man, you know. Here I'm playing with something, I don't know. I think I had a water. I had to do something with water, and then I was always playing. Well, for them I was a clown. Somehow I was a clown. I know. I'm not looking like a man. I'm looking more like a boy, you know. And there were men who didn't accept this. You know, this is not a man. He's a clown. But there was also some people they liked me. It was dividing somehow. This people who, but I think the most like me here. Here you see me. There was a fest every year. They had a fest. You see me here standing at the coffee bar. Here's another man. I don't know if he is still alive. Well, I don't think so. He must be now 70 or... anyway, nobody could recognize him because it's 30 years ago from now. And here you see me with a white shirt, and why I'm looking so... Well, here's my colleague and the other civil workers and we played the Blues Brothers, and guess who was Dan Aykroyd and who was John Belushi. You know, I was tall and thin, he was smaller and a little bit thicker. Well, I think you know who played who, and well, we just put on our black suits and black hat, and then dancing like everybody needs somebody, making some funny movements. Well, we just we said nothing. We were just dancing, but the people, they freaked out. They liked to see this, but because the film Blues Brothers was very famous in the 80s in Germany. Well, it was from 1980, but everybody knew this film, and we were nearly looking like them because we had the right size. You know, I was tall and thin, and he was small, and well, it was fun. And here on this picture, he looks like a little bit. He's watching me. It is somehow like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet. Like, hey neighbor, what about a ride? You know, a fun ride, a joyride. You know, and he's looking a little bit like this Frank Booth in Blue Velvet. Well, you know, I'm a fan of David Lynch films because he shows us a little bit the truth. You see a surface, the normal world, and then under this world there's this disgusting world which also exists, but you normally don't see. You know, that it is somehow true. His films are somehow true. Some people think he's a freak, but no, he tells us the truth. There's something under the surface, like sexual perversions and all those things. And I'm a fan of David Lynch. And sorry for the shouting. I was in my youth. I was in a theater company as a hobby. After school, so I was playing also this kind of roles, extreme characters. And yeah, here you see this chanting. Here's a chanting corps. You see me here, like German chantings, looking like seamen. Well, it was a great time. It was much better than in the hospital. In the hospital there was so much hate and so much darkness. And this house, social workers who ruled this house, they were so funny and they had so many good ideas. And I came into contact with this, this series about communication, interacting, psychology. Also, they were talking about books. It was very interesting, like Pearls and all this American psychologists. These books, they were very very involved in this this psychology. This it was very interesting. Psychoanalysis also, Freud and all these things they had to, because the people who were there, they had a hard time in their life. They were drinking because they were hurt somehow in their childhood, and then and they were discussing this this I can't translate it in English. All this Freud things, that they push down this pain, and it comes back into your mind in a hidden way. And yeah, the stages of consciousness, the I, the over I, and all these things. I never heard about it. It was so interesting for me that I decided to study this social sciences later. When I was later on university, it was really fascinating when they discussed all these things. Well, what else could I say here? Yeah, this is maybe a few over Stuttgart, and I was in the near of Neue Weinsteige. It was a street goes up to the Feing, or it was near the street. It was not far from downtown, and I was living in a house with this civil workers, and there was one funny guy. Well, I think it is not fair to show his face. He was my friend there, and I'm looking for a picture I can show you. Well, I try. I try. Yeah, here he's jumping. We made some funny photographs. Here I am in my. I'm looking a little pale. Well, I looked always pale. And here he's jumping, and I made the picture when he was just jumping down from this construction. There was a half-finished house, and well, there was a lot of buildings. You know, in Stuttgart there was a lot of buildings they did, and you know, yeah, here you see him standing on this here. While I show you. Yeah, I think this is okay. Nobody could see his face. Well, he was quite a jazz fanatic. He was playing jazz guitar, electro guitar, and every morning uh, he put on the music, Pat Messini, and then when he had a breakfast, he was singing these lines. And I was thinking, well, what is in his mind? He always, and then he put on his, you know, this electro guitar, and then the whole house, and then this fast. I think it was freestyle or free jazz, something like that. It was not Jimi Hendrix. This is what I knew, and he was playing all the time, all his spare time, all days long. He was playing the whole day his guitar, and he had so many tapes, and you know, and he was hearing, and maybe he was playing or this music, and sometimes both together. He tried to copy this to get this music into his fingers, and he could play also like Pat Messini, or I don't know what. Pat Messini is the only I know. There were maybe some more other jazz freestyler guitarists, but this is the name I can remember. He was a he was a fanatic guitar player in this house I lived. Well, and I want to finish with a story here. You know, there was another miracle, and it sounds so weird that you maybe think this this can't be, but well, I swear by God, I tell you the truth. And well, you know, there was 9th November 1989, and it was a Thursday, and I was in this house, and I heard about in Berlin the wall is down, and well, I decided on Saturday I will go to Berlin, to the wall, you know, to the Brandenburg gate of Brandenburg, Brandenburger Tor. There was a wall, and it was right that East Berlin ended at the Reichstag today, and well, today it is downtown Berlin, but the GDR, the Soviet Union, got this downtown, and the center of West Berlin was Kudamm. You know, this it was more in the west, and well, I went there and I took the train, and early in the I took the night train to Hanover, and then I had to go early in the morning at 5 o'clock with a tram to this Volkswagen factory in Hanover, and there was a shift worker. He worked till 6, and he came out, and he took me with a car to West Berlin. You know, there was an agency you can find somebody who bring you with a car, and you give him money for the fuel. And so I found him in this agency in Stuttgart. I went to this agency in Stuttgart, and they said, well, we have nothing here from Stuttgart, but if you go to Hanover, and then the rest you can go with this guy. So, and I went to West Berlin, I went to this wall, and it was on Saturday, and I came to this West Berlin Bahnhof Zoo, and then the whole Kudamm, there were a dancing of ananas, bananas. They had it on a head, the East Berlin people, because they had never bananas or ananas, all these tropical fruits. They, you know, this is how the devil works. You know, when they came in, they got 100 mark. That was mark, not euro. you know, this old currency of Germany was Deutsche Mark, so they got 100 mark for free. That was just hello, uh, welcome, and then they got eyes like you know, like Dagobert Duck, the dollar signs in the eyes, and they got crazy, and then they run into the shop and bought all the things they didn't had in didn't have in the East Germany, and so there was a lot of dancing ananas, bananas on a Kudamm, and then they bought this electric cars. You can you know, you can this broadcast cars with an antenna, that so also this kind of things, and records, you know, they were not allowed to hear for example, I don't know, there were rock music, and this leadership Eric Honecker said, well, I don't know, I think Eric Honecker was more um, progressive, but the old one, this Walter Ulbricht, he said, we don't need this Beatles, yeah, we don't need this here, and it was forbidden to hear Beatles. It's true, in the time of Walter Ulbricht, so they had a lot of wishes and a lot of desires, and they got the 100 marks, and they thought, well, now the paradise is coming now, and we are, well, they were free, but later they were also free of a job, and they lost their jobs because the whole economy went down, and then there was a lot of trouble, and they were lost, and you know, they lost their jobs, and then the desperation came later, and then later they start to hate it us. Yeah, we are the West. We are the people from the West. We did it to them. Yeah, you know, they were quite emotional. They had another mentality. They kept this old mentality from the 20s. You know, they were very funny, but when they got angry, they got really angry. You know, they were somehow I don't know. I don't want to bother anybody. Somehow they didn't know what was coming. You know, they were not able to foresee what it means to live in this system here. So they had everything. They had a job. They had an apartment. They had no. Well, sometimes they had no apartments. So then they had also problem with this. So that was so. Yeah, but their life was sure. They had never the problem that they fear to end on a street, something like that. That was not existing. The system was so that nobody was really poor. They were all somehow uh, poor, but they well, I think they had a good life. They had a well, I think it was not so bad. They had the same level like in England in the 70s. They were equal with England. So in all these eastern countries, East Germany was the wealthiest country, better than Russia. Yeah, where they were producing many things for Russia. They had to, and they had this history that the Russians came, built up these factories, and bring it to Russia, and then we had the situation that the Americans, they had a lot of money, and the West Germany was you know, all this credits, all this big money came to West Germany, and we had such a wealthy country after the Second World War, and well, we had another history like them, and well, this system, the Soviet system, was it was a punishment for the East Germans because they were a part of Germany in the Weimar Republic and later, and well, you know, and then they came this uh, this planning economy, that they were not allowed to produce on their own. They had to follow the orders, and nobody could oppose this central committee, this ZK. They were like it was a dictatorship. The workers, they had nothing to say, and nobody honored them when they had ideas, and they said, well, you have an idea, we don't care, we do it like the central committee says and nothing else. And well, it was very it was disgusting for the people. The Germans are very creative, they have ideas, and there was somebody who said, well, we don't want your ideas, we give a damn shit of your ideas. And this whole mood was like, in the end, it was like they were so tired, and the system was so that nobody could believe that this could go on. Well, they took the special day, the 11th of November, that the wall break down. But I heard that they already knew in the beginning of the 80s, all these top politicians, they knew already that this system will break down. They decided it already in the beginning of the 80s. So for them it was no surprise, but for us it was a surprise. We never thought that this would happen. Well, and well, the miracle I want to tell is, I was walking all this weekend in the run so in the city, and I was tired, and then I got another ride back to Stuttgart. It was a guy from Stuttgart, and he had a BMW, and he said, well, I drove first, and then later we make a change so I can sleep then. And I said, well, it's fine for me, it's okay. I never had a car, but I had a driver lessons, and and then we were on this way back to Stuttgart, and then in the middle of the night, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 in the morning, he said, well, we go in a parking spot, and then we change, and I drove, everything went fine, and I was tired because I was walking around the whole weekend in Berlin. And then I felt somehow I got sleepy, and I said, well, no, it's no problem, it's no problem. I did wrong. I should have go on the side and say, well, I can't go on, I'm too tired. But I decided, no, go on, it's okay. And then suddenly I fell into sleep. Then I woke up, and it was high speed. It was uh, the left wheel was already on the green, on the middle stripe on the green, and the car was going like bum, 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 bum. And then I was waking up, and I thought, oh my God. And then I took away this wheel, and then it was like, it was a whole, there was 3 lines, and I went over whole 3 lines, and then there was a woman, where we were 3. The driver was beside me, the owner of the car, and there was a woman with a cat, and she grabbed the cat, and she was crying to God, oh my God, so now we are going to die now. We're gonna die. And I looked back and smiled at her, and smiled, and I was thinking with my mind, nobody's dying here, it's all love. So, always when I'm in a dangerous situation, this whole love comes over me. It was always like this, and I knew somehow that I will make it, but it was hard. It was, so the first was right, and then this wheels, and then pushing the brake, and then the smell of this wheels, this this black wheels, they smell when they, and then another to the left, and then the whole highway is 3 lines, and then another turn, pushing the brake, and then and over the whole. And I think I made it maybe 3 or 4 times, and in the end, and I was looking the needle 100, 80, 60, 40, 20, done. And then in the end, the car went 180 degrees, and then I was going backwards. We were rolling, and I thought, well, okay, go on the stripe, go on the stripe. And just few moments later, there came the next cars came along. So if I would stay on the highway rolling backwards, they would have smashed us. So, and this guy woke up. What's going on here? What's the matter here? What have you done? And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, you have you could be dead. You could be dead. You must be dead. Why are you living? Well, I said, well, I must save. I couldn't kill you. I must do it like this. Otherwise I would have killed you. But I didn't say it. I said, well, shut up. Maybe he throw you out of his car. So get out of my car, you freak. And then I would be, so I had to work the next day on Monday, and I said, be quiet. But he was not angry. He was so happy, and he went out of the car. He ran around the car, and then he began to laugh like crazy. You must be dead, and it's impossible. And he was laughing like crazy, and he was so happy, and he said, du hast so Schwein gehabt. He was from Stuttgart, this dialect. This dialect from southwest, this Schwäbisch. Du hast so Schwein gehabt. So like this, you had a big luck, and then and I said, well, I'm so sorry. I swear by God, I will never touch your car in my life again. I'm so sorry. But he was not angry. So we changed then. And then we went back to Stuttgart, and then the next day, I forgotten my cab, and can I have my cab? No problem, I bring you. And then the next evening he came to my house where I lived, and he bring me my cab, and he told me, I told the story my friends, and they said all, you must be dead, you must be dead. My friends, I told the story my friends, and he said, well, it's impossible. It's no scratch. This car had no scratch, nothing. It was nothing. Okay, maybe the wheels were maybe a little bit, this black wheels maybe, um, because I had to push the brake hard. But it was a miracle, and I was such a bad car driver. I failed the first examination. The second attempt, I got my driver license. My teacher was laughing the first examination. I was so nervous, and I was such a bad driver, and without the help of God, I would never have made it. I was such a bad car driver, and how could I know the right moment to take a turn just before this highway, on the right, on the left, it was maybe 50 meters, and then exactly make a turn that I don't go out, and then a slight curve. If I would take the wheel too hard, we would we would fly. We would have fly like a matchbox in the sky, and we all would be dead. That was a miracle. But when I was 20, 21, I was not aware that somebody has a hand on me. I thought, well, it was just luck. It was coincidence, I never thought that there's a force that can go into your body and make you do the right moves in the second, or in the part of the second. You know, that was such a crazy maneuver. And I was such a bad car driver. Yeah, it was amazing, but I somehow I was used to it. I know that there's somebody. I knew this force, but I never thought that. I never thought that it is God. I don't know. I knew this force already from other accidents I had earlier in my life. Maybe I tell you about this also. But this time I never thought that it was be somehow had to do something with God. But today I know this God was always with me and watching me, and every time I get into trouble, He came. Uh, well, it was amazing. Yeah. Well, it sounds so crazy. I'm wondering if this guy is still alive. You know, he was also in his 20s, and it was 30 years ago. Um, it was the Sunday night after the 9/10. So it was the night from the 12th of the 13th November 89, and it is more than 30 years ago. And if this guy is still alive, and maybe he makes a film, yeah, he's right, he's right. He drove my car, I had a BMW, and he made it. You know, maybe he makes also a film and confirms the story, but because the story sounds so crazy that maybe, yeah, maybe you can believe it or you cannot. Yeah, it's up to you. But it is somehow, well, it's unbelievable. Yeah, there are miracles. I'm quite convinced that also other people have this force and this miracles, and in that time I was not believing that I was somehow special or somehow gifted. I never thought this. Well, but today I think I have changed my mind, and well, I will go on with some stories. Well, I have to prepare you, you know. I have to prepare you for, well, it will be a little bit hard and so to believe, but it will. I try to make it step by step. So that's it for today. See you next video.